and welcome to another episode of Todd Talk. And Todd Talks, people listen, hopefully. And it's going to be a very, very interesting episode of Todd Talk today, I assure you. Because that death battle just happened. Yeah. And, well, let me put it to you this way. Wonder Woman fly, I'm about to tell you why. Princess Diana, but this lady don't die. Her skills are signed, sealed, and delivered on time. Thor's a blonde, has been, she's in her Amazon Prime. I tell you what I say, Wonder Woman all the way, the blade, and I'm sorry. Yes, the Amazon Princess won the Battle of the Demigods. The Death Battle of the Demigods. The Death Battle of the Demigods. And, I apologize because I did not bring my tissues for all of your salty tears. Yes, I know not all of you have salt over Wonder Woman winning, but my gosh, there's so much salt over this. But to be fair, I would actually equate this kind of to a Goku Superman situation, to where both sides have like these enormous fan bases who believe in their character, and yet they wouldn't have accepted the win one way or another. Now, I have seen DC fanboys say that Thor should have won, but I have also seen Marvel fanboys agree that Diana should have won. And then, of course, I've seen neutral parties be absolutely objective and say one thing or the other. This is just one of those battles that is... These are two eternal characters, okay? Wonder Woman has been around for over 75 years. I again, did not look up when Thor was born. I'm sorry. But, he's been around... what, 50, 60 years, something like that. So maybe 70, I don't know. But still, these are characters who've been around so long. They are ingrained in our cultures. They both had movies come out this year. Thor's about to come out with Ragnarok, and Wonder Woman had her major film debut. These are eternal characters. You don't want to see them lose. But one of them had to. And it had to be Thor. And I called it, yeah, baby! Now, see, what I love about these death battles, especially the ones that, again, have feature like the eternal characters, is that you'll learn things that you didn't know about them. I had no idea that Wonder Woman's weakness was stabbing weapons, piercing weapons. I had no idea. And there's a point about that I'll make soon. But it just boggled my mind that happened. Now, of course, obviously, in the original comics, which thankfully they didn't use because of continuity rewrites, her original weakness was if someone bound her wrists, which is where the gauntlets were, she would be completely submissive to them. Hence the bracelets of submission. Yeah. If you know the history of Wonder Woman, like the real history of Wonder Woman, you know why that happened. But still, I found that fascinating. I really did. And then even Thor, who was, amazing in his skills and his abilities, he did things that I didn't even know about. The serpent thing, the Midgard serpent, I kept hearing about that on the Screw Attack forums, and I was like, I was thinking about Fear itself, because he had Battle of the Serpent there, but this was apparently a much more powerful serpent, and wrapped around the earth twice over and everything. Oh my gosh, the boomstick line about how powerful the snake was. That's right, Boomstick. You're dang right it is. Go Boomstick. He knows poultry and he knows snakes and guns. Yeah, I loved these breakdowns because they were just so powerful. Now, yes. Okay? Yes. I acknowledge that they did not mention everything they could for Thor. I was actually very surprised by some of the things they did not mention for Thor, including, but not limited to, much of what's happened in Jason Aaron's current run of the Thor comics, which are heralded as some of the best Thor comics ever made. And the biggest things that I acknowledged that were, let's call it inconsistent, was one, his black Uru arm, and two, Jarmajorn, or however you say that. I finally learned how to spell it today. Jarjaborn, his axe. Because here's the thing. They said Diana's weak to piercing weapons. But Thor has an axe. and not just an axe, the axe, like the ultimate axe. You could think about this axe was blessed to A, be indestructible, and B, to cut a Celestial's head off. Now, to be clear, that doesn't mean that I think he would have won with the axe. I honestly do not, because Diana's bracelets can block blades of divine and magical natures, which is what Jar Jar. It really is. I can cut through anything, I can defend through anything. It's a contradiction. So there's that, and they mentioned Jar Jar in the breakdown, in like the text breakdown, like under his arsenal. They said Mjolnir, Jar Javorn, and the Belt of Strength, but they didn't show. They didn't show it in the death battle, and I don't know. That does slightly take me off. The only caveat I give to that is the visuals that we see, and they've said this so many times, but I think we keep forgetting it. The visuals that we see are one interpretation of how the battle could go. One. For all we know, these two could probably do it for days on end, weeks on end, months on end, years on end. I mean, they are eternal, and they are, they don't tire out easily. So, I have no doubt that, that the battle could have gone a lot longer, or Wonder Woman could have killed him in 10 seconds, or Thor could have killed her in 5 seconds. We don't know. We don't know how this would look. This is their interpretation of the battle, which brings you to the other thing, which is they have to go by the character models that they have. Now, you could argue, could they have just made an axe? Yes, they probably could have. But and this was something a Screw Tech person, forum person brought up to me, which was if you think about pure Thor, get a picture in your head. What do you see? You see Thor in his classic armor. They even had the helmet, and he has Mjolnir. Now, yes, in the comics he has wielded both Mjolnir and Jar Jar, but pure Thor, the Thor we all think about, is Mjolnir. And if you think about it, if he's, remember, no prep time, he doesn't know who's coming, what weapon are you going to take? He goes for the one that he's used the most, which he had Jar Jar before Mjolnir, to be fair, as if detailed in Uncanny Avengers, which I read. I actually really liked that arc. It was a good run, but I can understand it's him saying, I only need Mjolnir, because for the longest time he has. The only reason he wields Jar Jar right now in the comics is because Jane Foster is Thor and has Mjolnir. So it's one of those things. But I understand the unhappiness about saying it, not showing it, especially since they specifically said, that Wonder Woman was the piercing weapons. But here's the other thing. They didn't mention some of Wonder Woman's great stuff, too. For example, even though it's technically been retconned, she was a freaking god of war. She killed Ares and became the god of war. And that allowed her to get, if I remember the comics correctly, I apologize, I did not read this arc. She got greater power, better armor. Like, she had full godly decked out armor, like more than her standard attire. They didn't mention that. They only recognized her as the goddess of truth, which is great, but she was also the god of war for a short period of time before the rebirth arc happened. And there were other things that I remember from reading Wonder Woman comics that she they didn't mention. Like, they did, like, I know people saying, like, well, he fought Galactus, and okay, Wonder Woman fought Darkseid. She's fought the New Gods. She's gone toe to toe with Orion and Light Ray and all of them. In a Batman Beyond comic, which is technically still canon, she sliced through dimensions. Yep, it happened. Now, there was some extenuating circumstances, but still, she essentially sliced through a dimension. So, and there was a person who said, like, he took a hit from Galactus, who could vaporize atoms, and yet he can't, and yet he didn't die, and now Wonder Woman's sword can't kill him. Okay, that wasn't what happened. At least not. I was told that's not what happened. I was told that Galactus was weakened because he was hungry, because he hasn't devoured plants, or he has to have plants to have his energy. So he didn't take the blast full power. If he had, yeah, he probably would have died. So, but that's the other thing is as I mentioned in my preview video, there was also a time where the Molecule Man, that would actually be a really cool name. A Molecule Man actually vaporized his hammer, Mjolnir, by splitting the atoms. So, there's no doubt that the sword could do the same thing, and I would imagine that there was a reason how he survived that blast. Again, I don't remember the comic, but I was told by someone that it wasn't as detailed as people are saying it is. And then there's the biggest thing, which is the speed factor. I said in my previous video, I thought that Wonder Woman was slower than Thor because of what I read about, Mach 35 and, and all that. Apparently, Thor's a lot faster. But then Diana is also faster. This is a complicated thing, and I can best explain it in a comic panel. Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman were in the Batcave, and they were talking. And Wonder Woman point blank says to Superman, "I'm faster than you." Which, if you recall, even if you just go by Death Battle statistics, Superman is as fast or twice as fast as Thor, depending on how you look at it. I know there's going to be some. Let's just say he's the same speed as Thor. Okay. Superman obviously rebuffs this and goes, "Diana, I can fly, yada yada yada," and she goes, "No, no, no, you don't understand. I'm faster than you in combat." And he still doesn't understand this, and so Batman makes actually one of the most perfect analogies I can imagine. Who do you think is faster in a fight? Usain Bolt or Bruce Lee? See, there is pure speed. There's combat speed. Now, as they said in the Death Battle, Thor doesn't fly in the technical sense. He can levitate through the power of Mjolnir, which has been proven numerous times over, and then he twirls Mjolnir and flings it to go as fast as to go where he needs to, which again has been proven multiple times over, even in the movies. But Wonder Woman's speed of reaction is so infinitely fast that I have no doubt that even if he did go max, I can fly through the universe in 60 seconds, she can still dodge him. Because her reaction speed is better than his pure speed. And again, he's technically not guiding sort of where he needs to go. He's launching himself. And in that moment, she can dodge. Again, she did her gauntlet thing with like a trillion things of that one god thing. That was a crazy feat. And even then, she's tagged Reverse Flash, Professor Zim, or however you want to call him. He's had many names. And again, he was technically going through time and not just running around. So, yes, I think Thor technically is faster in pure speed, but in combat speed, I gave the edge to Diana in my preview, and I give that reasoning all the believability in the world. It honestly does make sense. Now, was the battle perfect? Like the visual battle perfect? No, gosh, no. I think the voice acting, though good, it felt like they were talking in a studio. You could really hear the studio in the background at times. They had some great lines though, like the "Never shall the God of Thunder relent, you will to me." That was great stuff. And then that ending line of "You're not worthy," that was fun. But they kind of screwed themselves here because if you recall a while back, Sam Humphries, who was the writer for this battle, noted a few episodes in the Death Battle cast back that he said that he was having trouble coming up with a way to kill these two, no matter who won, because they are so tough, so powerful. You want to have a worthy death. And they went pretty basic with, I stab you in the back of the head. I envisioned something a lot more Shakespearean. Like I saw these two, going like back and forth about their heritages, their lineage. I, Thor, son of Odin, and I shall protect this world, and all that. And Diana goes, "I am the daughter of Apollo and Zeus, and it is my destiny to protect this realm from fools like you." And then Thor would get offended and like mock her or whatever. And then I saw Diana like going on this rant about how what makes you worthy isn't fighting all the time, it's love and all that stuff that Wonder Woman would believe. And then that would make him drop the hammer because he would realize he's actually not worthy. Diana picks it up and then she just goes absolutely crazy on him. I really wanted to see it, especially since they went the whole that beginning part of the episode talking about who could pick up Mjolnir. I really thought they were going to have her pick up Mjolnir. Oh well. rankings wise, it's actually like this has got to be like my second favorite death battle of the season, right behind Power Rangers Voltron, because that's just too that means too much to me. Again, was it a perfect battle? No. Was there inconsistencies? Yes. Was this on the level of Tracer Scout or in Goku Superman, where people are still debating? No. There were flaws, sure. There were not misinformation, but missed information, absolutely. But it wasn't as bad as you think it is. And as I was telling someone on the Screw Attack forums, it's okay to not like this battle. Absolutely. It's okay to still think that Thor should have beat Wonder Woman. That's fine. But to insult the crew, like I've seen the people saying, oh, they wanked, no, it's a wank, nerfed, whatever. They depowered Thor so that Wonder Woman can win. That they're being social justice warriors so that a woman could beat a man. Okay, episode 1 of season 3. Do you remember that episode? That was Dante versus Bayonetta, who arguably have the same amount of fan base, arguably. And Bayonetta has had, Game of the Year nominations, and, she's considered one of the, sassiest female characters of all time. And they freaking murdered her in the most brutal fashion possible. Social justice warriors? And then, how about Tracer Scout? Where Tracer literally blew Scout to high heaven. I mean, yeah. I still think that's one of the most controversial ones, but I mean, there's no reason to think that a woman can't kill a man and a man can't kill a woman. They don't. What would the point be of their bias if they did? Let's say they did it. What would be the point? They don't talk about their political affiliations. I don't even know what their political affiliations are. They don't gain anything from it, save from taking off a fan base. So, but they do that anyway. There wasn't a social justice for it. If it was 2 guys or 2 girls going at it, there is no bias. There is no social justice warriors. They don't care DC versus Marvel. Marvel is still winning. Okay, even with the recent wins of Doomsday and Wonder Woman, Marvel is still ahead of DC. Okay, it's not what you think it is. It's not what you're hoping it is. I don't know why people, and I mean, I know some people, trust me, some people have said some really stupid things. There was no bias. They did their research just like they do with every single death battle, and they came out with the conclusion that Wonder Woman won. Wonder Woman won. And I'm fine with that. And like I said before, should Thor have won? I would have been fine with it. I know Thor's strong. I know Thor's, dang near unbeatable. But I also know that you can say the same thing on Wonder Woman. This battle could have gone either way. This is so themselves. They matched themselves in pretty close ways. It was just certain things that tipped the balance. So it's okay to be mad. It's okay to be unhappy that your character didn't win. But please, please don't say that they had bias. They didn't. Wonder Woman lost before. And yes, I know this technically means that Rogue is technically stronger than Wonder Woman and Thor. And in a technical way, she is. That's another discussion entirely. Okay, I get it. All right? And I think, for the record, they proved that Thor is actually faster than Mach 35. So there you go. Don't take this out of proportion. Okay? It was a fun battle. It was a good battle. I'm content with who they said won. Let's look forward to the next battle, which is going to have even more salt than this one. Yes, it is, because we're going Naruto versus Bleach. I'm crying. It's so beautiful, the salt that's going to come out of the next death battle. So, with that, I am ending this episode of Death Battle. What did you think of the battle? Do you think they got it right? Do you think they got it wrong? Do you think that, Screw Attack screwed up? Please let me know. And then let me know what you think of the next death battle, which I'm still crying about because the salt, I can already taste it, the saltiness. Because I'm looking forward to that one too. So, thank you for watching. If you made it this far, I know you were listening, and I will see you around.